Hi there. I'm back again to read another excerpt from Small Things with Great Love. And you might remember that I spoke about Mother Teresa's great secret to sanctity, right, the last time. She said, simply, I pray. That was her big secret to sanctity. And she talked about finding silence in which to pray. And, it seems impossible, but it can be done. And so I talked about that before, but I'm going to get into finding silence, becoming holy in this excerpt. Okay, finding silence, becoming holy. We are familiar with the now famous sentiment of St. Augustine. Our hearts are restless until they rest in you. We know that prayer is necessary for spiritual survival. Mother Teresa admitted that she wouldn't be able to do even a half an hour of work without prayer. Prayer and the sacraments were necessary for her. They fueled her heart so that she could continue to walk in faith and lead her sisters and the poor they served closer and closer to heaven. Prayer and Mother's relationship with Jesus were the cement in the foundation of her spiritual life. This humble nun urges us to strive, too, for silence so that we can get our prayers right. It is not impossible to find the important silence that is needed for prayer, though we know how busy and noisy each day can be. It is up to us to make time for silence by seeking it out. As well, we need to curb our chatty natures and allow God to do at least some of the talking. A conversation requires two. It should never be one-sided. Mother Teresa tells us very simply, prayer is simply talking to God. He speaks to us, we listen. We speak to him, he listens. A two-way process, speaking and listening. That's what she said. God will indeed speak to our hearts. Let's make sure we are listening. Mother Teresa often said, we are all called to holiness, each one of us in our own state of life. She said that holiness is not reserved for a few, but a simple duty for each one of us. She said, to become holy, we need humility and prayer. And we discussed humility earlier in this novena, I say in this book here. Mother Teresa reminds us, Jesus taught us how to pray. And he also told us to learn from him, to be meek and humble of heart. Yet Mother Teresa boldly instructs, neither of these can we do unless we know what is silence. Silence is that important. She explained, both humility and prayer grow from an ear, mind, and tongue that have lived in silence with God. For in the silence of the heart, God speaks. Some called her a true force of nature. She was certainly countercultural in what she taught and in how she lived. She urged us to seek silence and told people in big cities to look hard for silence because that is where, in quotes, where everything moves so fast, she said. Then she even did something that seems contradictory. We might envision the nuns living in a serene environment. And, I lost my spot. Sorry. We might envision that nuns living in a serene environment could pray well, contemplatively. But what did Mother Teresa do? She said, I decided to open our first home for contemplative sisters, whose vocation is to pray most of the day, in New York, instead of the Himalayas. I felt silence and contemplation were needed more in the cities of the world. Isn't that something? I have visited that New York City convent, and it is right at the heart of the noise. That's me. I visited there, the contemplative convent. It's right in the middle of the noise. If the sisters there can find silence in which to immerse their hearts in prayer, we can also discover it right where we are. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Next time I'll talk about another kind of silence, because that's the next subtitle that's coming up. But I hope that I've given you something to think about. Your prayer life, the importance of looking for silence, of reaching your heart up to our Lord as often as possible, to ask His Blessed Mother for help too. Ask for help from the holy angels and saints. We surely need to pray. We surely need to develop that prayer life. We're all called to be saints. As Mother Teresa said, it's not a luxury of a few, but it's a simple duty for you and for me. And I hope that you stay well and that you keep on praying. That's so important, okay? And until we see one another again, bye for now. God bless you.